Kokushu. Kokushu is a term used for sake, a fermented liquor, or shochu, a distilled liquor. Do you drink sake? Sake is becoming increasingly popular around the world. In just the last 10 years alone, exports from Japan have increased about 250%. In 2007, at the International Wine Challenge, held annually in London, the sake category was first added. The first chosen sake to win the title of champion sake was Tsuru no Sato by Kikuhime Brewery in Tsurugi, Ishikawa. After all, it certainly has umami or savoriness, doesn't it? Sake helps me relax, and I like that feeling it gives me. Because sake is so enjoyable, it goes well with a variety of dishes. It seemed to me, as a liquor store owner, that some dishes just don't go well with wine, but sake seems to go well with almost everything. I guess that's why sake is loved by international customers. Sake has a long tradition within Japanese culture. Its production is very elaborate and complex, requiring an extremely high level of skill. One theory suggests that different kinds of sake were already being produced in the beginning of the Heian period, over 1,000 years ago, using almost the same brewing method that's used today. We invite you to take a look to see just how devoted and skilled our brewers are. We are sure it will give you a new perspective on sake. There are many different kinds of sake made in Japan, but some of the finest are from Ishikawa. To master that one perfect drop, that is our challenge. Sake is made from rice, water, and a type of mold called koji. Rice used for sake brewing is called sakamai. Some of the major sakamai types include Yamada Nishiki, Gohyakumangoku, Miyama Nishiki, and Omachi. Sakamai differs from the normal table rice in that it has a larger starch component in the center and a harder shell that is not easily cracked during rice polishing. Of all the sakamai, Yamada Nishiki is said to be the finest. Cultivating Yamada Nishiki is not easy though. Suitable lands for growth are said to be ones which are gently sloping and terraced with clay soil. There should be also a big temperature gap between the morning and the evening. Yamada Nishiki rice plants tend to cast down toward the ground because they're longer ears and larger grains. Personally speaking, it's harder to grow Yamada Nishiki than table rice. It's the #1 rice in the world. No rice can top Yamada Nishiki. According to the Japan Grain Inspection Association, the highest-ranked Yamada Nishiki rice production area is in Yokawa-cho in the Hyogo Prefecture. For more than 30 years now, Kikuhime has been using this rice to create its award-winning sake. Initially, it was very difficult to ship the rice from Hyogo Prefecture out to other areas. But because of the enthusiasm from Kikuhime's president, who was so determined to make sake with the world's best rice, the local farmers were inspired to make it possible. Today, Kikuhime runs scientific analysis on the rice and works in partnership with local farmers to help ensure that the highest quality rice is consistently produced. This partnership has become essential for both parties. I can see Kikuhime's willingness to get involved even in the rice-making process. The Japan Agricultural Cooperative, or JA, does give us some generic guidelines to follow, but the guidelines we get from Kikuhime are much more specific, like which fertilizer to use, at what point in production. I'm grateful for their involvement. In my opinion, Kikuhime makes the best use of the Yamada Nishiki rice. You can tell from the sake. There's no way to make good sake without good rice. When you want sake, How do you choose the right sake to drink? Sake has two major categories. The first is sake that is made from just rice, water, and koji, called junmaishu, and the second is sake that is made any other way. Junmaishu is then subcategorized based on its rice polishing ratio, which is the amount of outer shell that's removed in the polishing process. Ginjoshu or daiginjo are two examples. In the past, ginjo was the only term used to classify high-quality sake. It literally meant to make sake through careful examination. The name was only given to special sake that met the highest standards. In 1968, however, Kikuhime became the first brewer to release a sake named Daiginjo, the added dai meaning great. In recent years, more sake brands use rice with a lower polishing ratio, yet sake made from heavily polished rice is more desirable, right? In fact, that's not exactly the case. Whatever the ratio indicated on the label won't matter if the rice is of low quality. The key is to use quality rice from the start. Rice polishing is a time-consuming process. Polishing rice down to 50% of its original size takes about 50 hours. To polish it down to 40%, just 10% more, could take over 100 hours. Ensuring that the grain does not break during this process and that the temperature does not get too high is the reason that it takes so long. At Kikuhime, the entire rice polishing process is done in-house. The Yamada Nishiki rice, the ultimate sakamai, is produced at the most devoted farmers, is polished with the utmost care. Careful rice polishing is the first step in good sake making. It's because of this that we make sure to polish all the rice in-house. Our motto: stop making sake if you have to ask someone else to polish your rice. The polished rice is then steeped in water. Time is of the essence though, as the polished rice very quickly soaks up water. After the rice is steeped, it is then placed in a huge steamer called a koshiki. Ideally, once it is done steaming, the rice will be hard and dry on the outside and soft and moist on the inside. This is the meaning of the term gaiko nainan. The steamed rice is then used in three ways: as koji, as shubo or moto, and as moromi or sukuri. Let's first look at koji. It's the greatest impact on the quality of the sake produced. The saying goes, koji is first, moto is second, sukuri is third. Koji is made from the incubation of koji molds in steamed rice. The bacterial threads grow towards the center, converting the starch into sugar. Koji is a living organism. Its temperature changes from moment to moment and has to be hand mixed every few hours. At Kikuhime, we have 4 large workrooms next to each other. This enables us to create 4 different environments in which the koji is able to grow. Not many sake breweries have workrooms this large. Koji is carefully made at Kikuhime with thorough control and care. Once the koji is ready, it will have a sweet, chestnut-like aroma. Koji is first, moto is second, sukuri is third. We'll now look at moto, or shubo, as it's also called. Shubo is where alcohol fermentation begins. It is the yeast starter. Yeast, or kubo, is required for alcohol fermentation to take place. It is essential that a sufficient amount of kobo is grown so that alcohol fermentation can take place properly. That's why a large tank is used for the mash. Shubo is necessary for the growth of kobo. At Kikuhime, we use a small tank about 1 meter high. Shubo accounts for as little as 7% of the total mass in this tank. But that 7% determines the final quality of the sake. Shubo is, so to speak, the soup stock. It is the determining factor of the sake's flavor. Do you know the Yamahai brewing method? It is one way of making shubo. In sake brewing, lactic acid is used to prevent bacteria from spreading. The Kimoto brewing established in the late Edo period and the Yamahai brewing that originated from it both employ the natural development of lactic acid. With the Sokujo brewing method, which was developed in 1910, the lactic acid is added to the shubo in the beginning, ensuring that bacteria won't spread. It is the most widely used brewing method today. At Kikuhime, traditional methods of both Sokujo and Yamahai are used. The Sokujo method gives a more feminine flavor, with the softer umami flavors of rice, while the Yamahai method gives almost thick masculine flavor, adding more depth. Yamahai gives thick masculine flavors rather than ordinary umami. The luxury of sake. That's why we never compromise. Once steamed rice, koji, and shubo are ready, we start working on moromi. Of all the brewed liquor in the world, it is said there is no liquor with more sophisticated brewing method than sake. Let us explain this by comparing it with beer and wine. Wine is made from grapes that naturally contain sugar. Because of this, you only need to add yeast for the fermentation to make wine. Beer is made from barley, which does not contain sugar, but when it grows, it converts starch to sugar using enzymes contained within. That sugar is called maltose. Beer is made by adding yeast to that maltose. Sake is made from rice, and like barley, it does not contain sugar, but unlike beer, it does not contain an enzyme to convert the starch to sugar. Koji works like that enzyme to convert starch to sugar. Once converted, kobo, the yeast, can be added for alcohol fermentation to take place. What's remarkable is in sake brewing, conversion of starch and fermentation progress simultaneously in one tank. This method is called multiple parallel fermentation. Moromi refers to the final stage of the fermentation process. Close monitoring of temperature is required while making sure that the conversion of starch and fermentation progress in harmony. At Kikuhime, a compact tank weighing about 1 ton is used for brewing some sake, like ginjo, because they need to be fermented slowly and at a lower temperature. The moromi takes about 1 month to complete, during which the temperature is monitored every few hours and data is gathered every morning. Workers at sake breweries who are involved in sake making are called kurabito. The supervisors of all the kurabito, who are in charge of the entire sake making process, are called toji. At Kikuhime, we also have full-time workers called sake meisters. Sake is made with kurabito, toji, and sake meisters all working together. Traditionally, sake making decisions were based on the intuition and experience of the toji. However, with the aging of many toji and the lack of successors, there were some serious challenges to the continued production of certain sake. it would be impossible to create the same taste once a toji was gone. In order to resolve this issue, in 1988, Kikuhime employed students with backgrounds in science and trained them in the ways of sake making. Those students then became sake meisters and recorded their sake making expertise so that it could be produced accurately. Sake making is nothing if not traditional. All the necessary skills and knowledge are typically passed down from generation to generation. The Kikuhime, though, by scientifically analyzing sake or rice and then converting the knowledge to actual numbers and figures, they become practical expertise. I think that's the strength of coming from a science background. Though we value data and automate the production process wherever possible, we never underestimate the importance of the human element. Whether it's washing rice or making koji, some of the things are done better manually. Today, Kikuhime incorporates balanced expertise based on both intuitive and scientific understanding. Water affects sake quality so much that there's an old saying about it: where there's the best water, there's the best sake. A large amount of water is used in sake brewing, not just in the preparation stage, but also for steeping rice and washing tools. Kikuhime is located in the small town of Tsurugi, located on the outskirts of Hakusan City in the Ishikawa Prefecture. The town sits at the origin of the alluvial fan of the Todori River. Fine quality groundwater and moderate mineral contents are found in abundance here. This is thanks to Mount Haku, which is generally called Hakusan, and the other surrounding mountains that function as natural dams to store snow during winter. Every year on July 17th, workers from Kikuhime climb Mount Haku for the annual Hakusan Okugu Taisai Festival. It's said that Taicho, a monk during the Nara period, became the first to climb the mountain in 717. In 2017, Mount Haku celebrated its 1300th anniversary since that inaugural ascent. The goddess of Mount Haku is called Kikuhime. We are honored to dedicate our Kikuhime Ginjoshu to that goddess. Kikuhime, the masterpiece sake of Kikuhime, is a special sake that is made with the highest rank Ginjoshu and aged for more than 10 years. Before dawn, many climbers make their way to the peak. All of them successfully make the trek in time to see the spectacular views of sunrise. Now we shall announce the opening of the July 18th Okugu Taisai Festival. This year, we were blessed with sunny weather and prayed at the shrine. With the blessings of the holy Mount Haku. That is Kikuhime. At Kikuhime, we organize workshops on Yamada Nishiki, the world's #1 sakemai, for liquor store owners and any fans of the sake to participate in. By taking part in the rice planting and harvesting at one of our highest-ranked production areas in the town of Yokawa, we hope that you'll see just how devoted we are to the production of these raw materials. As an exporter of sake, Miss Yamauchi is promoting the sake culture of Japan throughout the world. We asked Miss Yamauchi, an expert in many types of sake made in Nara, about her views on Kikuhime. With Kikuhime, I feel like you can really taste the Yamada Nishiki rice itself. It's delicious, really. It's been almost 30 years since Kikuhime began working with the people of Yokawa in Hyogo Prefecture, and Mr. Uera has been involved in the partnership since the very beginning. Most sake brewers add aromas to make their sake taste like a decent sake, but only a few sake brands make the best use of the Yamada Nishiki as is. Though there are anywhere between 700 to 1,000 sake breweries in Japan, most major breweries hardly adopt Yamahai brewing. It's mostly used by smaller breweries. I like sake that's been produced using traditional means of brewing. Rice harvesting is typically done in late October. Mr. Matsutake is an internationally recognized synthesizer programmer and a fan of Kikuhime himself. Like music making, Kikuhime is all handmade, and what it's made of means everything. As musicians, we have uncompromising views on how our music is made. In that same way, Kikuhime has uncompromising views about how their sake should be made. We have a lot in common. Mr. Sonobe owns a popular liquor store in Tokyo. Having sold sake and shochu from all over Japan, this is what he has to say about Kikuhime. It has a rich, thick, and full savory flavor. I enjoy it as a relaxing drink. You can find the hime sake for 2,000 yen or less. Nothing in that price range beats Kikuhime in terms of quality. Taste the difference. Chosen for a reason. That sake is Kikuhime. Pressing is the last essential stage. One can only determine the right time to press by understanding sake without fail. Finally, it's time for aging. The highest ranked sake at Kikuhime, Kukurihime, is shipped out after 10 or more years of aging. We strive to make sake that has not lost the savory, full flavor of rice. With one sip, the difference is clear. We have no intention of sacrificing our principles for the sake of what's trendy. To master that one perfect drop, Kikuhime.